Okie dokie nerds. Something a little bit different today. We're going to play some Oath of Druids. It's a very heavy, combo style meta at the moment, just post Beseech the Mirror. But everyone's learnt that they can play Wastelands in their control decks, and there's a fair bit of workshops running around as well after the success of Chess Night. So I thought I'd mix it up a bit. I've had a few matches recently where I've had opponents mulligan to things like, well, there was two matches the other day where I played and my opponent's mulliganed to 5 or 6 and played a turn 1 needle on the play, naming Bazaar. So I'm going to try a league of something different. I have played some Oath of Druids in the past. I've also played a fair amount of shops in the past. And I'm just going to do something so that when it pops up and says fire truck in the corner, we can put a bit of doubt in people's minds as to what I'm playing. I'm going to try some Miharu Style Oath today. I'm playing that because in the Beseech meta, I imagine having infinite counter spells is a reasonably good place to be. I've got one main deck Force for Vigor, not sure if that's necessary. And then, yeah, Ren and 6 Narset and some Okos. Atraxa as the target. Yeah, and then post board, we've got some Serra's Emissaries, another trap, 7 cards to hit the graveyard with, and 5 cards to hit artifacts with. So, and possibly changing targets as well if we come up against shops and that sort of thing. So yeah, we're going to run this through a league, see how we get on, and go from there. I'll see you for round 1. Okay, round 1, game 1. We're up against Judan. Pretty sure this is mulligan. This is awful. So, this is also proper questionable, isn't it? And we've got Force, and any land gives us an Oath of Druids, or Preordained to find it, but I think we can do better. Not the ideal start. There we go. So we'll keep this. I think we'll bottom Walk and Oko. We don't know they're playing a creature deck. I think Walk and Oko are the best ones to send away. Because that way we've got Probe, Flusterstorm. So we're not dying, we'll know what we're playing around. And we'll work out time to deploy this Oath of Druids. They've gone to 4, we've gone to 5. 4 makes me think we're playing against Bazaar of Baghdad, and they've just conceded actually, so that's quite exciting. So yeah, and that just shows you the power of Oath of Druids really. Our opponent doesn't even know what we're on. And what's beautiful about this actually is our opponent is probably just going to sideboard in a bunch of anti-Bazaar stuff. So how do we respond to that? What do we want to bring in? Is there anything we want to bring in to hedge against? I don't know what Judan plays. I think I might just resubmit. We've got some equity against Bazaar decks. I think we're fine just to resubmit. I don't think there's anything I want to trim around and screw about with too much. So yeah, I think we'll resubmit and then probably have really good game 2 equity against the way our opponent sideboarded. I guess this is the sort of crap we've got to keep, right? We've got a misstep on 1, and then we've got a trap if they do something insane, followed by Flusterstorm into the world's worst cantrip, and then eventually we'll play Narset. So they've kept 7, we'll keep as well. And there's going to be some stuff in this video where I'm not particularly au fait with what's going on. But that's par for the course, right? I think that's something we have to expect when we come off of our precious decks and we play others. There's going to be some sequencing, some keeps. Like this looks like a decent keep until your opponent plays a Bazaar effect, until your opponent plays an Urza Saga, right? So let's play a Trop. Again, I can see Seiju being the correct play there just because of Wasteland. We want to get our green source wastelanded, not our blue source wastelanded. I'm actually playing Beseiju would have kept them on, thinking that I'm like a cradle list of some variety. But they look like they're doing some. I imagine this is dual at this point. So we'd like a land, ideally. That's probably one of the better ones we could draw. They are going to get a big construct. That's going to turn on their Mox Opal. But I think that's all okay. We just need to not die to this 3-3 in the next few turns. See how many artifacts they can deploy here. 4 mana as a PO. Let's fluster that, and then we can trap back if we need to. I think fluster storming there's pretty acceptable. This is a Tinker. That's a Phyrexian Metamorph. Okay, we will trap that. Just keep them as low as possible. And if I draw a land, I'm not against actually Besejuing this construct just to give us time. Play the Volcanic and pass the turn. They've got 2 cards plus a construct token, which is beating us down. So yeah, I think I'm just going to Beseju the construct token here because they're down to 1 card. They can have another land if they've even got another land to collect. And then we've got Gaia's Blessing to draw for a land. We've got Force Negation for a duel. They don't have a land to get, so if we draw a land, then Narset really shuts down the dual plan of their deck. I think I'll pick up some cards. I'll target me. I'm happy to get back Trap and Beseju, I think. We'll draw a card, see if it's a land. It's not a land, but that's fine. Would also accept that being a really bad play just because it opens up for an end step Pyroblast. End step PO, sorry. But the Saga's going to provide another clock. We'll cycle this, see what they're holding. An Academy. We draw a trap, which is not so great in this spot. We're looking for mana sources for this Narset, and hope that this Narset brings us back into the game. Although we might just be dead before then. Okay, so Atraxa, the Nutlow. Okay, so this is going to be a challenge to win from here. Wish I hadn't discarded that Beseju at this point, but I felt like we were in a good spot when we killed the token because it bought time, but they've found another Saga, and now they're going to attack us for 7 and we're dying next turn. So Oath doesn't get us out of it, which probably means we're not going to stay alive unless we can draw our Force of Vigor somehow. They get top off of Saga. The Academy comes into play. Seven mana is a healthy amount of mana. Trinosphere can't resolve, so let's pitch the Misstep. I think that's the one with the least text against duel. Now they cast a Force of Will. Storm count is 3, so we'll Pyroblast the Force of Will. We take 6, going to 8 and being deceased next turn. So now it's going to be draw a land, Narset for Force of Vigor. Forbidden Orchard is a land. We cast Narset. Okay. Preordain, Black Lotus, and 6. None of those save us today. So we get beaten down and we die. That's cool. So yeah. Maybe on the larger side a punt there. I don't know. But Pyroblast seems loose against them. Flusterstorm also seems bad, so we can rely it and just Misstep. So maybe we keep a Pyroblast, bring in a third trap, and then we'll grab a couple of Nature's Claims just in case we want to go after their artifacts. I think Pyroblast is better just because it's going to push through our spells and hamper theirs a bit. So like they don't have many blue cards, but the blue cards they do have are disruptive, right? Like it's going to be game-winning POs or it's going to be Force of Wills, and where there's such a big mana deck, I think Pyroblast is going to be more effective than Flusterstorm. I'm going to keep this. I'm going to preordain off my Volcanic Island to start. I'm actually kind of into just running back-to-back Oaths into each other and also gaining a green card to pitch this Vigor. There's a Saga, it's fine. Depending on what we draw, I might just strip mine them. No, I think I'm going to play a Forbidden Orchard and cast an Oath. This probably takes me off of Vigor at this point. Force of Will pitching Tinker, that's fine. Next time we can strip mine plus Oath. Because pitching the Oath is not particularly progressing our game plan, is it? So, Mishra's Workshop. Time Vault, okay. So we can let this happen. We can cast an Oath of Druids. We can strip mine the Urza Saga. Let's walk. Force of Will pitching Metamorph. Okay. So now we'll strip mine the Saga. So they can't get their key. And we can Vigor as well if we have to. And then if we don't have to Vigor, then we can put another Oath into play. Mox Emerald comes down. No other plays. One issue is our Atraxas getting metamorphed. That's something we've got to come up with a plan for. Whilst also not dying on the way through. They've got 2 cards in hand. If it's another force and another blue card, that would be very depressing. But we're going to get ourselves a tropical island in this spot. And do we want a Narset or do we want to Oath of Druids? I assume Oath of Druids is like the most winning play, and we just accept the fact that sometimes they top deck a Voltaic Key. They've already exiled their Tinker. They don't have a Saga on the go, so I think this is on the safer end of things. It might not be safe, but otherwise it's just playing a Narset which immediately dies, right? We get 1 activation out of the Narset and she dies, so let's try the Oath. They play a Mox Opal. They exiled 1 Metamorph. I know they usually play about 4. But we shall see. And then this Atraxa should give us the Force of Vigor. Yes, I would love to use Oath ability. So, is there anything there that I particularly want? Yes, I want to be able to get access to Time Walk, so let's shuffle first. And then we can take Oko, Force, Sapphire, Beseiju, Oath, Ponder. That's a pretty good load of hits. We'll take our draw step. Now we've got loads of artifact removal. We've got 1 permission spell. I'm just thinking, I'm not above Beseiju your Workshop, Vigor your Mopal and Emerald. We'll cast the Sapphire, we'll cast the Ruby, we'll run into this Mind Break trap for them. We'll pop a Narset down. So that's going to beat their jewels if they've got any jewels. Preordained Lotus. I guess Lotus puts an Oko into play and casts a Ponder, right? But then that's my 2 blue cards. So I guess it just puts an Oko into play. So bunch of blue and a green. We'll cast an Oko. We've got 2 forces available to us. I'm going to create a food token here. And I'm going to do what I said. And I'm going to go for their Workshop on upkeep. And I'm going to Vigor their Time Vault and Emerald. And then that way, we're making it hard for them to cast a Metamorph which copies the Atraxa. So they get another token, they'll get their island untapped. Now we'll cast Force of Vigor, targeting Time Vault and Emerald, and that's also going to kill the Mox Opal for the best part. And we're holding up Force of Will if we want it. And then with 2 cards going up to 3, this looks like a very difficult spot for them to come back from. Plays an Academy. And concedes. So we win match 1. Obviously very lucky in game 1 where they mulligan to 4. Game 2, I'm not sure about that Boseiju play to alleviate the pressure. Maybe it would have just been better to get the Narset spin come through. And then, yeah, game 3 we got to trigger an Oath of Druids. So I'll see you for round 2. Okay, round 2, we're up against Mage Winey. We're playing Miharu Oath. And yeah, as with the leagues, as I've said before, I don't typically look players up in leagues because I don't see the need to. I like that idea of just going in blind to a game. It maintains a few of them skills for that paper format, you know. Sound is dope. So if we want it, we've got 2 forces, or if we don't want it, we've just got 1 force. But I'm never too sure how to sequence these hands though. Like, do we just ram the Ancestral down their throat, or do we try and bait missteps and flusters and stuff with ponders or preordains first? I think drawing a blue card would encourage me to play a ponder. They've got an Ancestral, so let's go and win this fight first actually. I'll pitch the preordain because now my ponder's on my pitch list. Okay, nada. Ooh. Oh, I am a sucker for a wasteland, but I think now that I'm away from Bazaar of Baghdad, holding the wasteland for threatening lands like sagas is a bit better. I've still got the Force of Will. I'm not going to let them untap, right? So 5, 4, 3, yeah. I've got the Force, and I'm not going to let them untap into a Fluster or something. So I'm just going to Ancestral myself now. If they've got a negation, I'll probably fight back. They don't have a negation. Okay, fantastic. And then if we can find a red source, then we can pop this Wrenn and 6 into play, and Wrenn and 6 wasteland them forevermore. 2 mana makes a walk. Walk's kind of annoying, so it's going to provide them with a Saga token, which is going to pressure my Wrenn and 6. And I think I'll fight over it. I don't think I'll fight back, but I think I'm happy with wastelanding the Saga while it's on 1. And then if I draw a blue card, I will ponder. So red land, that's good news. So we'll just wasteland the Saga for now. We've still got a Force of Will, and this is one of the fun things about the way Miharu built their previous Oath decks. So I know they've been off it for a while, but they are just full of permission. That's another Saga, so that's not great. But we'll just play a Wrenn then. This will give them a Saga token. But that's something we can Boseiju to protect Wrenn with. So, and we've got Force of Will to fight back with. Let's get a Volcanic. Green and red. And I will try and fight to protect my Wrenn and 6 because we're behind on board now with the Saga. We're going to pick up the Wasteland and then look at Besagioing tokens in the future if we have to. Force of Negation pitching Hull Breacher. Yeah, I'll fight back. We have had 3 forces in the opener, which has been nice. We won the Ancestral fight. We won every fight after that. No. Yeah, so they got a land drop, so that will pressure our Wrenn and 6. And they've got a Hull Breacher, which will also pressure our Wrenn and 6. But we've got everything covered. We can Wasteland and Pyroblast. So we'll play Wasteland. We'll Pyroblast the Hull Breacher. And we win. Very nice. Very nice. So just up against like Tinker Saga-y crap. I think I like the Vigor. I'm going to bring in a Braid for those Hull Breachers. What am I dropping? That's the big question. We're already like really pre-boarded for this sort of thing, aren't we? So maybe there's not too much we need to do in terms of sideboarding. Trim a Preordain maybe? Maybe that's the first cut. So we've just got one more answer to a resolved Hull Breacher and whatever chaff they could have. That seems really bad. Maybe I just want the Preordain. I'll run it as it is. I'll run it like this with the Abrade in. But okay, what does this do? It counters a bunch of blue spells. Doesn't really go anywhere though, does it? Doesn't particularly beat Sagas that proficiently. We do have a Force of Will though. I think I'm going to keep it and see how we do. This might be a mulligan. Be happy if this is a mulligan. We're not particularly in my wheelhouse here, so I am fine with a few of my lines being shady. Yeah, just a Saga. Mox Pearl. Lotus Petal. Okay, we ballin'. So I'll cast a Ruby, and then I'll probe them. And they force back with the Dark Raven. Okay, so they're going to get a treasure token. They've got a DT in hand. Play this and pass the turn, and next turn we can Besage the Saga if we want to, or the Saga token. They draw Polluted Delta into combat. No point in us taking the damages here. So I could have played my land beforehand, but I thought I wanted to, before the probe, on that turn, but I was hoping to draw something like a wasteland. So Scalding Town, Black Lotus, right then. And do they have enough next turn to DT for Tinker? If they top deck a land, they do. So am I supposed to just let it all go? I don't think so. We'll wait for them to fetch, and then we'll Boseiju the Saga. And we're going to Boseiju the Saga with the Police Delta activation on the sack, so if they want their token, they have to use their treasure token. Which then means they're going to cast a DT, but unlikely have the mana for it, for whatever they get off of it. So we get a Trop, Boseiju your Saga. They do use the treasure token. Now they've got some lands, and they've got one draw to get something good with DT, and then after that we're going to have Force of Will up, and it's going to be a top deck battle whilst they have a 2-2. Them having a 2-2 is obviously a win condition, but it's also a way we can trigger an Oath of Druids, right? So whilst it's a 2-2, it's great. I think Wrenn and 6 is just our best draw at the moment. Because that way we can maintain a Force of Will open. Ancestral, no. Draw step. I'll hold that. Okay, so we've... Sorry if you heard the drilling a minute ago. I've closed the window now, so hopefully it won't be as loud if you did catch it. So we've got to assume that Force was a nice like 2 for 2. They DT'd for Ancestral. We cracked a Lotus for the Force. If they have a Tinker now, then congratulations, but no, okay. Fluted Delta is not ideal. We do just need some action before they draw it. Orcish Bowmasters, okay. So yeah, so we are falling behind here. Got a couple of hits for an Oath of Druids, but they might have permission in hand. So Mox Emerald. Okay, actually we'll cast the Emerald to make it look like we've got Force of Will open. It might have just been that this hand wasn't a keep. I should have played my land before I probed, so I had double Pyroblast open. Like, there's a number of plays in this match that we could have done differently. Because their treasure token made their construct, right? So but I think looking for the wasteland is better. We've got 4 strip effects in our deck. So what do we need here? Ancestral. No, Ancestral kills us. Yeah, I've got no idea what gets us out of this, actually. I mean, Besage's a draw step, but then I don't think we've got anything after that. So I'm going to go to the next game. I feel like these braids look better now that we've seen Bowmaster as well. And even though they're playing Hull Breacher and Bowmaster, I still think our cantrips are cool. Right, because I don't know, I'm just going to trim another Preordain. I'm happy for that to be an awful play that we're supposed to be, you know, trimming something else, but to me it's just the easiest cut from what I can see. So double attracts there, we're going to mulligan this. Force, Pyroblast, Preordain in our set. We'll keep this. I think we'll send back the Orchard. I think they're putting enough creatures in play that we don't need to stress about it. And then the big question is, do we Preordain on 1? I don't think so. Maybe we do. Maybe this is the safest time to Preordain. Hold up Force in our set. Grab ourselves a Volcanic. So Traxxas can go to the bottom. Wasteland can come to the top. And then we shall see. We're hoping they just lead on Saga and we just waste them and hold up Pyroblast. Scalding Tarn. And the Sapphire, okay. So that means they've got Bowmasters up, they've got Ancestrals if they want them. I'm just going to play Besage's. I don't want to show them Wasteland, I don't want to not make land drops, because if I draw a blue source next turn then I get a Narset. The misstep was quite a nice draw. Island makes us think that they've got a Hull Breacher in hand, or just Infinite Permission. And now, do I miss my land drop? I think so. I think that's fine. Oh no, I'm going to play it. That might be ill-advised, but we can play the land, and it's just going to help us play for like Fluster Storms or some shit, I guess. Oh, that's not even true. Never mind. But now they know to hold the Saga until I wasteland them. So Lotus Petal is fine. They don't have a land. Or they're just holding their Sagas away from my wasteland, which is smart. I'm not sure about that land drop. We'll certainly hold that. And over to them. Vampiric Tutor. Is that something I want to misstep? I'm not against misstepping it. What do they get? They get Tinker. Which I can Pyroblast, Force. I'm going to misstep it. If they fight back, I'm not fighting over the Vamp. Okay, they're letting it go. Nice. They considered it, so they've definitely got something. Tolarian Academy. Does that mean we want to Vigor all of their artifacts away? No. Do we want to wasteland them? Maybe we do. So we can just put them down to island, right? Let's just wasteland the academy. And we will hold the strip mine this time. There's the Saga. So when do we strip mine? That's the next question, isn't it? Do we strip mine now? Or do we let them make a token? Or do we just play Oath so they can't make a token? I could just go strip mine, tap Boseiju, tap strip mine, cast Oath of Druids. And then I'll have Force Pyro behind. No, I think I like stripping now. So I can play my Oath once they've played onto the board. Or I can hold my Oath and just Vigor some stuff later. It's just quite a slow and grindy game. They've got us on mana at the moment, but our hand is all quite reactive. Black Lotus, okay. Six mana for a house. So we'll negate pitching my Force, because this Narset's going to be my way back into the game. they'll respond with something. It's a Flusterstorm. So they're going to get one spell off of this. And we're just going to immediately nuke it with the Vigor. So that's force from hand, pitching, negation. We counter target blue spell. What's on top of their deck? A Hull Breacher. Okay. So we counter the Vigor. We kill that. And Oath is the best card in our deck again. Mindbreak Trap. I just need a colour producing land, a blue land. They've got no cards in hand. They draw one. So now it's just a race, right? Blue source or Oath. I know we pitched an Oath there, but I'm glad it wasn't just sat in play doing nothing. Brainstorm doesn't do anything in this spot, just gives them treasures. They're up to 2 cards. We're down to 11 life. And then blue source. Blue source. No permission. No permission. I'm still spinning this, I don't care. I need to find an Oath of Druids. Braid's good, isn't it? Braid is a card we can play. They're going to kill our Narset, we're going to kill their Hull Breacher. Got 3 cards in hand now. Yep, they go after Narset. Is it just going to be that the Citadel has got them just enough value? Oof. So I guess we go for the Abrade first. Try and eat some of their permission. And then we can Oko next turn. I should have Abraded on their turn, that was quite poor. I'm going to Brainstorm now before they take their draw step. Because they didn't flash anything in on end step, which I feel like you would do. So we'll put a card, we put 2 cards on top. So we're going to put Mindbreak Trap, Oath of Druids. Oxjet from the opponent into a Shieldred. So we take 2 for the privilege there. We play our Wasteland. I'm going to lead on Oko. So I want to shrink the Shieldred. So Shieldred's got no text. Oko will keep us alive as we deploy the Oath of Druids. We know we're drawing Mindbreak Trap next turn, there's nothing we can do about that. So Pearl, me or Oko, that's the question. Oko, okay. And I'm going to Wasteland that Underground Sea. That just got through, okay. Now I wish like I hadn't, but I just wanted to take them off Force of Will. Play an Oath of Druids. And they do have a Force of Will. Pitching Sphinx of the Steel Wind. Okay. But I feel like this is a game where Oko's going to hopefully just take over for us. And they've conceded, yeah. So a good victory there. Was that the second or third game? This game we just played was pretty sweaty. Lots of decisions in getting to this point, because we could have just deployed the Oath earlier. We could have been more aggressive with our waste and our strips, and we did get to eat that Saga from holding the strip mine for a turn, which I wonder if we should have just done with the Wasteland earlier. But yeah, and then bringing in the Abrades turned out to be reasonable. Right, we abraded a whole breacher, the whole reason we brought it in. These two traps, maybe these are pretty loose cards, maybe that should have been our trim instead. Because once I've abraded the whole breacher and elked this, having two preordains would be pretty great, right? Also willing for the timing on that brainstorm to be wrong. But that was a cool round, so I'll see you for round 3. Okay, round 3, we're up against Thomas the Jerk. We have won the roll, which is quite exciting. We're still playing Miharu Oath, and we've got a turn 1 Oath against a Lurrus deck. I think we'll go for an upkeep Ancestral. Okay, so I'm going to go Polluted Delta to play around Wasteland, Mox Sapphire, and then I'll upkeep Ancestral, turn to Oath of Druids. And upkeeping the Ancestral will possibly enable our trap as well, as they go land Mox spell or something like this. So we Ancestral ourselves. They have a Force of Will. Pitching Force of Negation. Congratulations to our opponent. No plays. What the hell? They just keep like a Wasteland hand or something and just get absolutely bodied from it. I mean, sure, whatever. I'll roll this out. I don't know how to play against that. Oath gets through. Is this just going to be another free win off the fact that it says Fire Truck here and they kept some unkeepable hand against everything else in the world? Yeah. Get wrecked. How funny. This is why you mix it up occasionally, right? Like in Modern I used to always play Storm back when Storm was good. I've not played Modern for a few years. But I used to just play Storm every single week. And occasionally I just mix it up and just rock up to the FNMs with the old burn deck. And yeah, put people in the ground because they all kept the wrong hands. So I'm going to bring in the Abrades. I think they're probably decent against Jeskai. I usually trim traps against Jeskai when I'm playing Squeeze, so I'm going to keep the same logic here. The Jeskai decks usually have access to Grafdigger's Cage, so we'll trim a... They usually have this artifact, so we'll take out this Shatter effect here. Next, we're bringing in the 2 Abrades, right? So we've still got answers to that 2 Abrades, 3 Okos, all the blue cards. We'll keep 1 trap. And I think I'm happy with how that looks. Do I want a Soul Guide Lantern actually over a trap? I don't think so. They can have their graveyard value. Yeah, so put that up to the second free win of the day. And I imagine that was just force of will. Force of will and some wastelands against the known Bazaar of Baghdad. So we'll keep this. That's what I'm going to assume at least. So Mock Sapphire is fine. Voltaic Key. Do we want to misstep that just for the fun of it? I don't think so. And they pass. Okay. Force is a nice draw. Play a Trop. We'll cast a Preordain. Gare's Blessing to the bottom. I'm pretty on board for Strip Mine actually. Combos quite well with this Ren and 6, which we'll try and force through next turn. Obviously it's not lights out against them at the moment because they've kept 2 non-landers in a row though, which is mad to me. So Mox Ruby. Ether Spellbomb's fine. Thoughtcast, sure. That makes sense. So that Vigor will be coming back in. Let me tell you that for free. Place of Druids. I'm just going to play Ren. Pick up my land. Like lock down the late game. We've got Force. As a Saga dies to Strip Mine. And we have to fight the Time Vault and die to the fact that we didn't misstep the key earlier. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that might have been a big punt earlier that we're now getting punished for. If we've got a turn to find something good, what do I just exile? A Preordain. Maybe I should have exiled the misstep because that helps me find stuff. Okay. So yeah, so maybe I was supposed to just misstep the key and just completely lock down that line of play. The Vigor will come back in. Nature's Claim seems good as well. I don't think I want to go nuts on them. The Mindbreak Traps also seem a bit better. Obviously I'm doing a lot of this on the fly. I'm not well studied in the sideboarding. I think my Nature's Claims can replace my Pyroblasts. I think I'll go back to trimming Preordains. So we'll have, yeah, 5 artifact removal spells. We'll be a bit more aggressive on the thing. And there's like, you know, they might have just top decked that Time Vault or they might have just top decked the Fluster Storm and they wait to protect it. Either way, good game. And right, this is certainly a hand of cards, isn't it? Is this hand of cards good? I don't think so. Oh, well, the other one was better than this. So we'll go to 5. This looks keepable. Bottom 2 lands, or bottom a land and a probe? I'm going to do land, probe. And I'll lead on ponder. With a force of will behind. There's a good chance that was actually supposed to be putting Force of Will back, because I've gone so low that losing any more cards is going to be a real problem. So Saga, Soul Ring, Time Vault. I don't want to fight the Time Vault, that's the problem. But I think I'm forced to, because that's all their deck does. And they force back. Pitching a PO. Mox Opal. Oh, and they just have the key. Okay, sure. I mean, if you're gonna... Yeah, that's fine. This is one of those things, right? Welcome to Vintage. My opponent had it all. I think game 2 I could have played differently. But this game, they've got... Yeah. Natural Vault key with Force behind. Good game. Yeah, cool. Well done. We'll move on to round 4. I'll see you there. Okay, round 4 up against Yonanton. This hand looks ballin'. We're on the play again, that's nice. We'll keep 7. They mulligan to 6. And they keep on 6. So we'll just lead Trop Preordain. Try and find some mana sources or some permission spells. I'm going to bottom the Fluster, and I'm going to top the Ancestral. And if they wasteland us, they wasteland us. So basic island, Mox Jet, DT. This was the weakness of this hand, right? I've got nothing going on. They DT for Lotus. And they pass the turn. So that could mean Hull Breacher, that could mean Fluster Storm, that could mean Force and Negation. That could mean they're just playing around Mindbreak Trap. How do we want to play this? Our Wasteland is dead. We could just roll out an Oath of Druids. So I want to play around Hull Breacher somewhat. I think Oath of Druids might draw some attention. So Oath of Druids got no attention at all. Which means we could just die. This line might have been awful as well, but I feel like Oath protects our Ancestral as well, right? Because they can't put a Hull Breacher or a Bowmaster into play in response. They walk, okay. No lands on this turn. They're on 4, going to 5 from their draw step. And let's see what they've got. 5 mana, 6, 7 mana. That was a good draw. And they cast a Hull Breacher. So do they have an answer for our Oath? Twist. Okay. That's not good for us. I get 7 treasures and 7 new cards. We're just leaning on this Oath trigger, if it's going to get us anywhere, they still need to come up with a way to kill an Atraxa and beat an Atraxa. Or two. Obviously we're really far behind, but I feel like with the Oath in play, we've got outs to play it out, you know? We're going to draw 10, 20, 30 cards here. That's an exaggeration. We're going to draw some cards. Like, I don't know what their game plan is. We're going to kill their academy. Yeah. Opponent's having a big think in the desert phase. Yeah, we're really far behind. We're probably losing, but with Atraxa in our deck, they're still going to need to at some point be a 7/7 and plow through whatever I pick up here. Let's just say like land Mox, Oko or whatever, plus some permission is pretty nice for us. So yeah, no plays from them. That means we get a trigger on our Oath of Druids. Yes, I'd love to use it. Right, so what's the last 11 cards in my deck then? One of them's going to be an Atraxa. Apparently my deck is like a bunch of Force of Wills. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so there's no Force of Wills in my deck at the moment. There is one Pyroblast. There's one Volcanic. No, there's no Volcanics. But Time Walk is in there. So do I want to find my Time Walk? And appreciate that I don't really have the permission to fight through what they have, but at least I get a Time Walk to play. There's no Okos. There's 2 Ren and 6. So there's a bunch of lands. Ruby later. There's a Sapphire in there as well. So yes, I think I'm going to Gare's Blessing after I've attracted, because I need to go get Sapphire, Time Walk. Okay, so Sapphire is the last card in my deck, or I can't read. I imagine the latter is more true. Yeah, Sapphire is the last card in my deck. So we'll take Walk, Pyroblast. This new interface is a train wreck. I want Scalding Charm over Thingy, and then I get a free Ren and 6. And do I want the Atraxa in hand, or do I want the Atraxa in deck? I imagine I want the Atraxa in deck. Yeah, so let's say done to that one. Gare's Blessing is going to shuffle us up. And we'll lead on Time Walk. And if they blink away a bunch of treasures to counter it, I probably just don't fight it. So we draw a Volcanic for the turn. I don't really want to give them 40 billion mana though, do I? And they know my hand. So maybe it is just Wasteland, Scalding Tarn, go. to kill the Academy, and then I can protect the Time Walk the following turn. I actually think that's better. Kill Academy so that we've only got disposable mana, and then we have Pyroblast up for their turn, and we have Time Walk Pyroblast the following turn. So we play Scalding Tarn because they know about it. We Wasteland the Academy. And then we pass. Okay, they've got plays. We've got a Pyroblast to fight with. And they have to at least give some consideration to the fact that I could have top decked a Force of Will. They just don't know about the Volcanic. They know the rest of my hand. So they do have to play around Pyroblast in some capacity. There's a Saga's a good one. Just Volt Key me. Yeah, cool. Okay, that's fine. We at least tried. Maybe my hand was just a bit loose at the beginning. I'm going to bring in the two of Braids like we did last time for the Hull Breachers, and I'm going to trim a Preordain and a Preordain, and I think I'm going to call it a day there. I like the Besaid used to answer Sagas and Saga tokens. Cool, let's go get Volt Keyed again. So what does this do? Not a lot, right? Because my Oko is my blue card. So I've got a 2 mana cantrip if I want one. I don't think that's very good. Let's go for a trip. Okay. We'll keep this. I'm going to bottom Force of Vigor. Okay. I'm going to go Emerald. Lotus, Trop, Brainstorm. Is that good? Emerald, Lotus, Trop, Brainstorm. Maybe let's go Lotus, Brainstorm. Lotus, Trop, Brainstorm. Or maybe I just don't need to Brainstorm right now. So we'll cast the Lotus. This Brainstorm might be bad. So I only got 4 mana left. So I'm going to put back Wasteland Pyroblast. I'm going to cast a Mox Emerald. And then this Narset will push. This Narset or Preordain will push through our Brainstorm. Then we can Oath next turn. This whole line seems really suspect to me, though. Maybe it's just better just to jam Oath with Pyroblast behind. And Piggyback Wasteland was really bad as well. I think I'm playing this deck wrong. I think I'm trying to force through this Oath of Druids when I should be much more interested in being a control deck. Force Negation pitching Flusterstorm. So now we'll just cast a Preordain. And we'll bottom both of these. We find a Volcanic. So I bottomed both because I want to find an Orchard. That's the punishment though, isn't it? That is the punishment that we get. Soaring. Pithing Needle. What does Pithing Needle name? Wasteland? Okay, okay. They've got 3 cards. Both of the cards I just bottomed are the best 2 cards in my deck. There's an Orchard though. So let's play Orchard. Oh, please stop. Let's cast an Oath. If they've got a Force, then congratulations. They do not, so that looks pretty decent for the home team here. Unless they've got an answer to that. Like Walk into Cage would be very good, wouldn't it? It doesn't look like a hand that's walking anywhere though. So we go to 19 and then we put an Atraxa into play hopefully. Yeah, nada. Sweet. Oath you. Oh no. I'll make a token. Yes. Okay. So Strip Mine, Force of Will, Ruby, Probe. Done. Draw step, Scalding Tarn. So let's Strip Mine this Saga, cast a Mox Ruby and pass the turn. They're up to 3 cards in hand. They've played an Underground Sea, so they've got access to the old blue manas now. But they know I've got Force Blue. So they need to come up with something good. We're going to get to put another Atraxa into play, which is going to be Sublime. Which we will do. I'll keep this one. So, Time Walk, Renin 6, Polluted Delta, Oath of Druids, Force of Will, Dunzo, and then we draw a card. We'll cast a Renin 6. We'll plus on the Strip Mine that's in our graveyard. We'll strip them, we'll then Time Walk. And we can Oath again next turn, and that will reshuffle us if we want to. But maybe we don't want to right now because we have a Strip Mine lock going. Let's go to combat. I'm going to probe them. I don't see what we lose from probing them. Flusterstorm, Opposition Agent, Narset. Yeah, I'll walk into the Fluster, that's fine. Yeah, so my Wrenn and 6 will be gone. We'll get a free shuffle. And they're holding Opposition Agent, Narset, Parter of Veils. So we need to be careful with our fetch lands, but other than that, we've got Force of Will to protect ourselves against anything that they draw. And end step, I'm going to discard one of these orchards, I think. So they've got to kill Wrenn and 6 if they've got any hope of ever casting spells in this game. The whole world at Wrenn. We'll block a construct token. My exile is just Narset. And there's no Gaea's Blessing in hand or grave. So we'll be able to reshuffle this turn and get the Atraxa back into play for the future. Does that matter? Not really. I guess it's annoying, but I think Narset's more annoying. So I'm just going to let them have the Oppo Agent. And we'll just bear that in mind as we crack on. So we'll reshuffle for the Blessing. Let's just quickly view sideboard, make sure I'm not about to just completely punt this game away. No. Okay. Yes. Okay. And then that means next turn we get another Atraxa trigger. So we'll play this, we'll attack for 7 and go to 38. They're holding Narset and one other. But they're dead next turn, and we're going to Atraxa trigger, and we've got Force Pyroblast behind. So it should be hard to come up with something from here, and they have in fact conceded the game. So we go to game 3. I like the Abrades when they're bringing in the Oppo Agents. I like the Pyroblasts more than I like the Nature's Claims. I do like this Vigor, because it's just a nice way to bink off like a few combo things. I think I'm happy where I'm at. 2 traps seems good to me. So yeah. Preordain Fluster. Yeah, cool. This looks like a good hand. Just need to get this Preordain to resolve. It's a Saga, okay. So more likely to pitch this with Vigor at some point in the future. I'm kind of tempted just to go land go. Does that remain true? I want to preordain. I don't know. I can see the argument for just going land go here and having like different pitches. But that was the dream, right? We'll top that. Probe them. So they've got Twister, Force of Will, Underground Sea, Narset, Yawgmoth's Will, and a Soul Guide Lantern. Okay. So Saga goes to 2, and I imagine that Saga's going to be fetching a cage at some point. They play the Underground Sea, roll out the Soul Guide Lantern. That seems absolutely fine to me. Soul Guide Lantern just locks off that line we did at the end of that game, right? Where we mill our deck to reshuffle our Atraxas in. That's what Soul Guide Lantern gets rid of. Do we want to pitch a Vigor here and knock them off cage? Or do we just want to let them get the cage and let the Saga naturally fizzle off? Yeah, I think I'm fine letting them do that. And picking a fight about stuff later. I'm on 7 cards. Yeah, we can just pass. No point in rolling out Oath of Druids. Well, actually, the point in rolling out Oath of Druids is that it almost forces them to get a cage. But I think it's fine as it is. I think we're winning fights. The second Oath means that we can... Sure. The second Oath means that we can pitch 1 to the Vigor quite comfortably. We can pitch the Oko to the Force of Will now, and we can Flusterstorm and Pyroblast up. So it's looking difficult for them to resolve spells. If they top deck a blue source, then they'll be getting a Lotus here. There we go. And a Mana Crypt. Okay, cool. Island Cycling will get the Narset. Narset will be met by a Pyroblast. And that's going to be their turn. So we've got to bear in mind that they're holding Time Twister Yawgmoth's Will here. So in the face of that, do we want to kill their 2 artifacts? Discard Cycles, plays Sea. So they don't have the Sea in hand. They don't have the Soul Guide Lantern in hand. So they've got Force of Will, Yawgmoth's Will, Time Twister. So if we Vigor, then we always win the Flusterstorm battle over the Yawgmoth's Will or the Time Twister. So I'm going to go for it. Pitching the wrong Oath of Druids. I should have kept the good looking one. But that's... Hull Breacher. Shit. Do I want to fight Hull Breacher? I don't think I do. I don't think I do. I think Hull Breacher can come into play. Drawing a land would be the absolute world for us here. Atraxa, motherfucker. They got Force of Will behind, so if they top deck a land, we can't do anything. So we'll wait on a land to come into play. We know their hand is Force of Will, Time Twister, Yawgmoth's Will. So if I play Oath of Druids, they force it. I can't force back, because if they top deck a land, they kill me with the graveyard. Whereas if we do this, we can pitch Atraxa, Flusterstorm, and beat both Twister and Yawgmoth's Will. That's the land. So if we played the Oath, we would have lost. They go for the Time Twister. And we know that their hand is Force of Will, Yawgmoth's Will. So if we just force this, whilst they can't Force of Will, then we'll have a Flusterstorm for if they draw a blue card next turn to go with their Yawgmoth's Will. Hull Breach is going to 3 us. I would like to draw untapped blue. Or untapped land. Narset. Okay, so we continue to chill until we've answered their hand. Okay, so no plays from them, apparently. They go for the Yawgmoth Will. We've kept the Flusterstorm all this time for this moment, so that makes it harder for them to beat us back. And then this turn we're just jamming the Oath anyway, because we've run out of good information from them. Twister's gone, Narset's gone. There was the land. So what do we want? Do we want an Oko? I think we bait with Oko and then we Oath next turn. Yeah, just in case they've drawn blue card off their Force of Will. Which they have. Perfect. So Hullbreach goes to the yard, or goes to exile. They're hellbent. We've got an Oath of Druids in hand. We're going to go to 8 life. We need them to brick here, and then we put an Atraxa into play. Remember, we've only got the one Atraxa. One's in exile. I don't know where my Atraxa is actually. Did I bottom one? I hope not. That'd be awkward, wouldn't it? Okay, so Misty, play an Oath of Druids, and then yeah, all we've got to do is fade last turn's draw step from being something good, and then this turn's draw step from being something good, and then we'll get an Atraxa. And if Atraxa's, I am going to shuffle before the Atraxa comes into play, just because my memory is so bad. I don't know if I bottomed an Atraxa on the keep. I think randomizing is good. What have you drawn? Moxjet. Just a Moxjet. Okay, cool. No cages or anything scary. So let's fetch. We'll get a trop. We'll get an Atraxa. 6 cards left in deck. Oh, but I do get a blessing. Okay, so we'll bless first. I could look at what I'm getting, but I want a selection from more than 6 cards. So Force of Will, Wasteland, Time Walk, Oko. I think that's fine. Draw step. So we'll lead on Walk. We'll play a Wasteland. We're going to cast an Oko. And we're just going to Oko their Hullbreacher so that nothing scary can happen. That's probably bad actually. I could have made a food and then swapped next turn. Never mind. You can have your 3/3. Oh, that's got Summoning Sickness. That makes sense. Okay, I've severely dropped off into clicking buttons, but that's fine. Oh, that's cool as well. So, let's make a food. So attack for 7. And then we'll just wasteland them twice. Kill this land. Kill this land. We'll hold up a Force of Will. And the next turn we'll kill their next land. And they've conceded. So good game. I actually like the way we played that one, where we were very, very patient. We leaned into the control deck aspect of this. The Git Probe Pyroblast on the preordain was the absolute world, right? Just show me what you're working with and sculpt the rest of the game around that. And that's what we did, and it worked out. So I'll see you for round 5, I think, and we're currently 3-1. So peace. Okie dokie. 5th and final round of this Oath of Druids League. We're up against Soul King 54. We do have an Atraxa in our hand, but we've got a turn 2 Orchard Oath with Force of Will behind and a Fluster for their turn 2 plays. So let's see what happens. I quite like it. I've got double force actually, haven't I? How exciting. Mox Pearl, Flooded Strand. No Lurus revealed this game, so Whole Reaches and stuff are in play. Island, Lavinia. Right, so Lavinia turns off the forces, so we'll fight back. Pitching an Atraxa, and it just gets straight through. Okay, nice. They're on 4 cards now. Preordain is just going to go alongside that Force of Will for now, I think. And I'm happy to fight that because now I've got the... Like, there's an argument that, oh, let them resolve a creature so that you can Oath. But that doesn't stand up when your hand is Forbidden Orchard. Soulguide Lantern, does that matter? Not really. I mean, it could, depending on where our second Atraxa is placed in our deck. But I think we're fine. They've got 3 cards in hand. We will fetch. We'll grab a Tropical Island. We'll play a Forbidden Orchard. And we'll cast an Oath. I've got Force of Will to protect this. I could have maybe waited longer. Force of Negation. Pitching Force of Negation. We'll force back. And I'm going to pitch the Fluster Storm at this point, I think. So I've got some good rebuild later. Now the Soulguide Lantern to draw a card looking for a Fluster Storm. And they didn't find one. So it's over to the opponent. They look like they're the blue-white initiative deck. One question I have is what happens if they Tinker for Sphinx here, right? I can't beat that, can I? With my main deck configuration. Oh no, I've got Besages. What am I talking about? Besages are answer to Sphinx the Stillwind. No plays. So let's hope that our Atraxa is reasonably placed in our deck. Yes. 19 cards, but we do get blessings. Let's take a look. I think the main thing I'm looking for here is where's my Time Walk? My Time Walk's still in my deck and I've got 19 cards. So I'm going to resolve the Atraxa first, looking for that walk. Because that walk is so big once we've resolved an Atraxa. It's not here, so we'll take a Ponder. We'll take a Ruby. I think Misstep's probably good here. And a Flooded Strand to go with our Brainstorm. Modo, wakey wakey. Ah, we win. Okay, that's why. So, to sideboarding. Against Tinker Initiative, I imagine a Braid's good because they've got some Whole Breachers, they've got some Lavinias. I've already got traps. I'm going to do the same as before. I'm going to trim these Preordains. Get them out of here. I don't want to be consistent. Yeah, that went well. Yeah, I think on that turn where we play the Oath, I think there's an argument that you can wait for another land before we commit because we've got the Fluster Storm behind. But, you know, now this hand is a thing of beauty. Let's go to 6. This hand is also kind of dope. So, I think I'm going to bottom Brainstorm or Ponder. Or maybe it's just Time Walk actually. Keep Caster Rules, bottom Time Walk. So Mox Jet, Urza's Saga. Cast a Time Vault. Okay, so we know what we've got to try and do now. That Time Walk would have been useful, but that's fine. Besage is a fantastic draw, so let's probe. Oh, that's annoying. Manifold Key, Mystical Tutor, Tundra. That's piss annoying, isn't it? So what's better in a spot like this? Is it Brainstorm or Ponder? Ponder looks at more, so I'm going to go with Ponder. None of those are Force of Wills. And that one's not a Force of Will. So we'll see if they go for it. We assume that they do push. So Tundra. Lotus Petals the draw for the turn. They go for the Voltaic Key. We've got no response. And we lose. Okay. So we get Volt Keyed again. We've got a good look at their deck. Let's go to the next one. Unfortunate. But that's one of the things I think you sign up with on this deck, is that occasionally your opponents do really vintagey things. More vintagey than putting a 7/7 into play on turn 3. Do we want something like a Nature's Claim for that sort of crap? I mean, I've already got 3 Wastelands, a Strip Mine, and 2 Besages to fight, and a Force of Vigor to fight Sagas with. I'm going to submit again. I think I like where I'm at. Just I need to not get Volt Keyed on turn 2. Sounds disaster. That sounds good. So we'll keep this. I'm going to bottom the Orchard. And I will lead Ponder. So Delta can go away. Vigor, and then Mox Sapphire. I don't want to shuffle my library. I want to cast a Mox Sapphire before they put a Lavinia into play. And then if we're allowed to get to our next turn, then we're shuffling away the Delta. And casting a Narset. Or not casting a Narset. One or the other. The One Ring. So, I'm going to force pitching Narset here. Because I need to trap back. Now our hand's pretty weak. They've got 3 cards. We're going to wait to see what they do. Because if they just dump a bunch of artifacts, then we've got like a Saga. If they play Saga for the turn, no, they've got no plays. So do I want the Polluted Delta or do I not want the Polluted Delta? Because the Polluted Delta casts Force of Vigor, right? No, I think I'd rather find something different than a Delta. Because I've only got 1 land that doesn't cast Force of Vigor anyway. Alright, cool. I'll keep it in hand though. There's no point in playing that out. It was like 2 lands actually, wasn't it? It was the Ruby and the Volk didn't cast the Force of Vigor there if I'm drawing lands. That's a Brainstorm. Yeah, we'll fire that off. I don't see why not. We'll put back the Vigor. We'll put back the Fluster. So we do have to draw through this stuff again. But I've got motion spells, so... No shuffle, so maybe I wanted to hold the brainstorm until we drew through all of that and found ourselves a fetch land. But I think the cards we found are actually like acceptable, right? And if they play a Saga, I think I'm more likely to... I'll just stop that now. This is an aspect of the game which I'm not great at in the vintage format. Is just like, should I be flustering this? Like, probably not actually. But when I play Squee, for example, when you're in this sort of spot where you're just both hellbent, you kind of build up to these positions where you do want to counter the cantrips, because a lot of the payoffs that they have are things like Urza Saga, Wasteland Tabernacle, and you counter the cantrips. So, bit of a spot here. Do I want to play the Boseiju to cast the Vigor, or do I want to keep the Boseiju to kill the Saga with? I think I'm just going to let them go and see what they do with their Saga. So they've got a land. So we can Saga in response to... We can Boseiju in response to them fetching at the end of our turn, depending on what we draw here. An Oath of Druids. Very nice. So that's a good draw. I don't know if it's a draw we want to deploy yet. I think I quite like the idea of passing the turn. Yeah, this is where, like, firing off against that brainstorm was really bad, right? It's now that we're actually making plays which impact the game, we're like super far behind in a counter warrior of this Oath of Druids. So what we're hoping for here is that we get through this turn fairly unscathed. Oh, they're floating mana, interesting. Yeah, we get through this turn fairly unscathed. We then draw a blue card and we can go Oath, Force of Will, Flusterstorm, and they've put a token into play for us. If they get a cage, we've still got the Boseiju. And I'm leaning on the Boseiju because I don't want to get my Force of Vigor flustered or something. But I do wish I'd let the Brainstorm resolve and that my Flusterstorm was real and in my hand. The One Ring again. Can I beat the One Ring? They're going to go up to 5 cards in hand. I'm going to put an Oath of Druids into play. I think I have to try and beat the One Ring. Because I need to win the counter battle myself over the Oath of Druids to get anywhere. So preferably a blue card, but we're probably winning the counter war anyway due to having Flusterstorm in our deck or in our hand. That is a blue card, so that's very nice for us. So let's just cast the Oath. Represent Pyroblast. They draw with the One Ring. And future One Rings will... future One Rings will beat our Oath triggers. So how do we best play around Flusterstorm here? So I imagine we Force of Will first. Because their Flusterstorm has to target our Force of Will. And we'll just say that's okay, right? And then we'll fluster their force of negation. And pray for no fluster off of them. Oh wait, they countered their own negation. Yeah. My force of will has no targets. There's no Druids on the stack. So a bit of a misstep from our opponent by there. By that I mean like a massive misstep. But we're now unprotected against Vault Key. They draw 2 cards. Another One Ring. Teferi, that's very annoying. Okay. Because now I can't win that counter battle, can I? Into a walk. Okay, that's really good. So yeah, big misstep, but they're still going to get themselves out of it. So we're even going to have the time. They draw 3 cards again. They have a Teferi to beat the permission with. Okay, looks like we're losing. Strip mine my Trop. I'll strip mine Volcanic. Okay. Yeah, I'm dead to any artifact next turn. There's no reason to not Oath here, is there? And there's no reason to play out Boseiju. Or maybe it was actually better to just Boseiju their token and go into a longer game. Force negation, sure. So if we survive, which I don't imagine we will, we'll Boseiju the token and say a prayer. But I think Boseijuing the token there was way better. There we go, we die. Yeah, because now we don't die to this, and they've got to do something about their ring, and we can just sit around. But no, we lose, and I think that was match, wasn't it? Because they Vault Keyed us one game. Yeah, so 3-2. Good fun to play something different for a change, though, and I hope you enjoy this. Peace out.